You know, if you go around Chattanooga at all, North Georgia too, chances are you've been running into people who've chosen to move to our area from other parts of the country. We are highly sought out. We know all the reasons why, but in this ever competitive job market, that can be a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. Mark Hite is on the show with us this morning. He, of course, has the Mark Hite team, and he always puts a positive spin on things when he pays us a visit. So good to see you.
Good morning.
As I understand it, the good news is kind of a win-win for everybody this time.
You know, for the first quarter of 22, it's been a very positive housing market, and we brought some statistics. You know, some folks hear and learn, some folks visibly learn, so we brought some slides to help reinforce the message.
Well, okay, so the thing that I'm noticing in these slides, I guess if we start with the new listings, is that they are actually up a little bit, which is beneficial if you are a buyer.
Absolutely. We have been at historically low numbers, and Julie, for the first quarter, we saw new listings up 3.8%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think about that, that was 3,200 new homes that came to market in the first quarter of this year.
That's a lot.
It is. If you're just looking on Zillow, you know, it's a low number that's on there every day, but that's because they're selling so darn quickly.
Right. So the win, I would say, I guess I'll be the optimist too, from the seller's perspective, is that you still, though it's gone up with the competition, if you will, inventory is still highly in demand, so you're fine.
You are absolutely fine. We saw a little blurb. The next statistic is home sales were actually down a drop for the first quarter, but that was artificially affected by the Omicron variant.
Gotcha.
You remember back in January when we were all masking and hunkering down?
Yeah.
Well, that put pressure on people for going out. So actually, it was still a very healthy market with lots of people shopping online.
Okay.
And so that negative sales result is not a bad statistic for us.
I still cannot get over the number of days on the market, and of course each house is going to be its own, so this is just the average, but 20 days?
And look at that, that's down 44% from last year for the first quarter.
So it used to be that it was almost 40 days?
Yes, and if you went back to 2019, we were in the 60s.
Okay, but even that's a short period of time.
In our lifetimes it is, but we are a society that has a very short memory. And so what that tells us is that you need to be very well prepared. If you're looking to buy a home today, you need to get pre-approved with a local, well-respected lender so that when you make that offer, because there's going to be, we put a beautiful home on the market day before yesterday in North Chattanooga, had 18 showings the first day, and offers began to flow that evening. And so the seller, you know, had an over list price with a good local loan originator that I've had good experience with in all candor. And so she decided to go ahead and take that rather than going to highest and best and just having, you know, dozens of offers take place.
Yeah, it's hard to be the seller. I mean, it sounds like they're in the catbird seat, but it's kind of a challenge because you don't want to have the sale fall apart on a technicality.
And you have to be cognizant of what something will appraise for. So it may be great that Mr. Buyer says they'll pay you this, but if they have an appraisal contingency, meaning it must appraise for the purchase price, then the deal might not fly.
Okay, this is still amazing to me. Up 22%, the median price, $293,000. That's up 22% from a year ago?
It was a crazy appreciation. What we're
lot.
beginning to see, Julie, is a little moderation. The month of March was up 20.8%, just slightly. What goes up at this pace, it cannot continue. You know, if you think about a roller coaster, it can only go up for so long. It's not going to fall off a cliff like a roller coaster, but we should begin to see moderation in the appreciation.
Well, that's good for everyone too, because you don't want to have it fall off the cliff, because that means if you're this home buyer, you just lost equity in your house if it drops.
Absolutely. And so with interest rates moving up, we've seen them move almost a point, or actually a whole point here in the last 30 days. That affects affordability and affects what people are able or willing to pay for a monthly payment. So it's really all good numbers. Appreciation is good. You know, historically we see 3 to 4% a year. We need to get back to that level because we have made up all the gains lost in the Great Recession and all the building supplies, you know, and the costs that go up. It's time for it to mediate.
I'm going to put you on a slippery slope, but I know you enough to know you'll know how to navigate it if I put you in a bad spot. But you hear stories about people, like I just said, choosing to move here. It's a whole different cost of living on the West Coast than here. They come with cash in hand, which can give them an upper hand. So don't you have some things within your team where you can kind of help local people know what's about to hit?
It really has. It's a great question.
Okay.
The out-of-town buyer with cash, because cash is considered king.
Sure.
So the more contingencies you can remove from your offer, if you're the local person working at Blue Cross wanting to get your first home, the stronger your offer gets.
Okay.
And so, it's not just our guaranteed offer program where I buy your house so you don't have a house to sell contingency, but we also have some financing options where you can make a cash offer and then sell your house, and we also have recasting. So there's a variety of opportunities, but it all starts with a good, experienced local loan originator.
Right.
Julie, I've got to be candid. I do this 500-600 times a year, and sometimes a pre-approval comes from, and if I've had 2 bad deals with this loan company or this loan originator,
You're skeptical.
Yeah, I'm skeptical, and that buyer probably moves down the list. So it's key to have a good realtor and to also have somebody with knowledge to help you win that deal.
Okay, that comes back to the team. It's the Mark Hite team. Each person within your team has their own particular niche that they fill.
Everyone's a specialist. And so I have buyer specialists who work every day. I was just on the phone with Gino about an estate question he was making, because I do this a lot. So we've got a lot of experience helping both our buyers and our sellers navigate the best path. And then I've got the call center where those folks are in there converting leads and actively prospecting for buyers for our listings all day long.
So your website is one thing, which is markhitehomes.com.
Yes.
Should they follow you on Facebook, because you do some teasers that way,
We
don't
do,
you?
and we've got a great register to win. We're partnering with the Barn Nursery, so come in and like us and submit your registration to win. We're giving away 3 $500 Barn Nursery gift cards. So yet another reason to visit us on Facebook.
Okay, so on Facebook, is it also Mark Hite Homes?
It is Mark Hite Team.
Mark Hite Team on Facebook.
Yes.
And then the Mark Hite Team down on West Main.
Yes.
Their phone numbers are there, but for online purposes, it is markhitehomes.com. Good to see you.